I'm Maria Elena Giassi, and this is Currents. It's Turkey Tuesday, as Catholic Charities helps feed the needy.
People may not have something for Thanksgiving. Certainly if they're unemployed or underemployed or just trying to make ends meet, Catholic Charities is there to give a hand up.
Plus, changes are coming to church this weekend. We'll get a preview.
For instance, the change right before we receive communion, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed, is now becoming, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed.
And in the tight economy, making every penny count to put together that perfect Thanksgiving meal. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Matt McClure has the night off. It's less than 2 days away, a time set aside together around the dinner table with family and friends. And while we give thanks for all that we have, we also take the opportunity to remember those less fortunate, like the more than 1 in 5 New Yorkers living in poverty. With that need comes requests for assistance, and today Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens did just that. On what they call Turkey Tuesday, the organization gave out around 100 food baskets, which included everything needed to put together a full Thanksgiving meal: turkeys or turkey vouchers, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and gravy. We headed to Catholic Charities Queens Community Center in Astoria for the big day.
Today, our food pantry at the Queens Community Center is giving out donations of turkeys that we receive from the community. This is an annual event at the Queens Community Centers. We're giving more than just a bag of food. We're actually letting that person tell us what their needs are, and then we're working internally within the agency as well as with external agencies to help that individual as much as possible. There's also an assortment of seafood that came in from a company in New Jersey. United Seafood Enterprises gave us a donation of 100 pounds of frozen seafood. And the reason for that primarily was because we didn't have enough turkeys. And thank goodness for that donation, because one of the case managers stated that we had a family of 17 people.
I've been a volunteer with Catholic Charities 2 years. I've been doing it because it's, something good to do. People need help. It makes you feel good. The organization is a great organization.
Their response is tremendous. We have customers, clients who come in year and year again.
I've done this pretty much for a few years, being unemployed and unable to get by on the times that I need to the most, like around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
It's a big help because some things I can get and some things I can't afford to get. So I'll call and they'll tell me to come in and I can get what I need.
I came in today. I started parceling bags, food. You pack the food stuff in order to make someone happy, because with the economy, it's like they need it.
Given the fact that the super committee has been disbanded after 3 months, we are not sure how that's going to affect us. It could be very negative, where programs may close or there will be less funds coming in.
If they shut it down, I don't know what I would do.
There's so many people in the community like myself that needs Catholic Charity for the service as well as for the pantry. Some things I can't afford to get, and I come to the church and they're able to fulfill what I need.
Catholic Charities has provided about 3 million meals for consumers from the pantries. 1 in 4 are living under the poverty levels in New York. Even families who are receiving food stamps, we find that they are coming to the pantries more often because they just aren't able to make ends meet. Cuts means that we aren't going to have enough. We are hoping that public funds will come in. We're looking for private donations as well.
It's amazing to see their faces when they get that bag, because it's like they have something to eat. They know they have something to cook. They really do appreciate it. I am going to keep volunteering as long as I have the health and strength, because it's a great thing to do.
And Turkey Tuesday was made possible by a number of organizations who donated the food, including the Knights of Columbus, Holy Cross High School, Most Precious Blood School, and Fidelis Care. A big thank you to all of them and the other companies for their generosity. Stay tuned, there's more currents ahead. When we return, is a broader exemption to the Obama administration's contraception mandate on the way? We'll have that story and the rest of the day's headlines next. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Coming up later, celebrating and saving this Thanksgiving. But first, let's have a look at the day's headlines. The New York Times reports the Obama administration is considering broadening an exemption on contraception coverage in healthcare plans. Under current recommendations, most private health plans must cover contraception without copay. The Times reports House Democrats have written a letter to President Obama urging him not to widen the exemption to that mandate. Current exemptions apply to religious organizations unless they serve or employ large numbers of people of other faiths. U.S. bishops are among the critics who say the requirements are so narrow that almost no organization qualifies for them. Meanwhile, two new polls show former House Speaker Newt Gingrich in the lead among Republican presidential hopefuls. Polls from Quinnipiac University and CNN ORC show Gingrich ahead of the next closest candidate, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. A CNN poll released just a week ago had Romney with a 2 percentage point advantage. The Quinnipiac University poll shows Gingrich beating Romney in a head-to-head matchup, 49% to 39%. The Republican candidates will face off tonight in Washington. Closer to home, the executive director of Catholic Charities for the Archdiocese of New York was among the featured speakers at a rally last night for a living wage bill. Monsignor Kevin Sullivan read from a letter by Archbishop Timothy Dolan, telling those gathered that the Church supports fair wages with decent benefits and jobs in sufficient numbers. Channel 4 reports the Archdiocese did not endorse the exact language of the bill introduced in the City Council. The measure would raise wages for employees at projects currently receiving at least $1 million in subsidies from the city. Meanwhile, New Jersey's bishops have announced a new effort aimed at tackling poverty. In a statement, they say they are creating 4 task forces to focus on issues impacting poverty, including family life, education, unemployment, and low-paying jobs, and affordable housing. The bishops are undertaking the effort in cooperation with New Jersey's Catholic Charities agencies. Elsewhere in the state, one person is under arrest for allegedly using a sledgehammer to destroy a monument to sex abuse victims at a Catholic church. According to reports, the suspect faces multiple charges in connection with the destruction of the statue at St. Joseph's Church in Mendham, New Jersey. The man is reportedly not a parishioner at the church, and police do not have a motive for the attack. Turning to Ireland, where the National Broadcasting Company RTE has agreed to pay a significant sum to a priest falsely accused of abuse. The broadcaster aired a story alleging the priest raped a teenage girl and fathered a child with her while working as a missionary in Kenya. The priest eventually took a paternity test, which showed that he was not the father of the child. In a statement read in court, RTE also offered an unqualified apology and said it never should have aired the report. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the church in Ireland tells the Irish news website The Journal that it is speculative to report the country's archbishops oppose a plan to reduce the number of dioceses there. According to the newspaper The Irish Catholic, the archbishops are strongly resisting a plan to cut the number of dioceses in Ireland. The plan was one of several ideas to emerge after the Vatican's investigation of the Irish Church, following reports of widespread abuse at Catholic institutions there. And an archbishop who is at the center of an abuse scandal here in the U.S. has resigned from a post in Rome. Cardinal Bernard Law retired as the archpriest of the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, one of the world's oldest churches, after reaching the mandatory retirement age of 80. He had been appointed to the post in 2004, after he stepped down as Archbishop of Boston 2 years earlier, following allegations that he mishandled cases of abuse by priests. From Pakistan, the country's bishops are protesting the banning of the words Jesus Christ from text messages. Jesus' name is on a list of more than 1,600 vulgar, obscene, or harmful words banned by the Telecommunications Authority of Pakistan. Cell phone companies in Pakistan are required to block text messages that contain any word on the list. A Catholic official in Pakistan tells the Vatican news agency Fides that the church says there is nothing vulgar about Jesus' name, and that the church will pressure the government to remove it from the list. Turning now to India, where 7 people are under arrest for the murder of a nun. Sister Valsa John was reportedly beaten last week before being shot to death at her home. Sister Valsa was known for her work among the tribal people. Police also arrested 4 people for raping a tribal girl who was an associate of Sister Valsa. And a priest who is known for handing out money to the needy on the streets of Los Angeles has died. Father Maurice Chase worked with the Skid Row Charity Fund for 32 years, handing out anywhere from $1 to $100 to people on the streets during the holiday season. Reports say philanthropists and celebrities, including Bob Newhart and Dolores Hope, were among Father Chase's benefactors. Last Thanksgiving, Chase handed out $15,000, but those who received it say it was about more than just money.
He gave me a hope, and, he made me just, know that somebody somewhere cared about me and the fact that I might could use $1.
He would, just be there for people because they always relied on him. Regardless of the money, they just always relied on him. He was a really good man.
Father Chase died on Sunday. His family says he had been battling cancer. He was 92 years old. Stay tuned. There's more currents ahead. Coming up, there will be a new sound at Mass this weekend. We'll hear all about it.
And most of the changes really are in the text of the prayer of the Mass that the priest says. So he's got to deal with most of the changes, right?
True. The priests have a challenging job in front of them with the collect prayers and with the Eucharistic prayers.
Welcome back. The U.S. Bishops' Conference website is counting it down. Just 4 days to go before the new translation of the English language Mass takes effect. The new version of the Roman Missal is more than 10 years in the making, since Pope John Paul II first announced it back in the 2000 Jubilee year. It will be a big adjustment for the priests and lay people who've grown accustomed to the language of the Mass that has been celebrated here in the U.S. for almost 40 years. Getting used to the new wording may take some time, but there is help out there. The Catholic publishing company Magnificat has produced a number of guides on the new Mass. Earlier today, Paul Snatchko of Magnificat sat down with our Ed Wilkinson to tell us more.
Well, Paul, thanks for coming in today and for being with us. Magnificat Press has performed a great service to the church. This weekend there's a lot of changes in the liturgical language, and Magnificat has put together these prayer cards that are available that I guess in many churches. Tell us a little bit about what these are meant to do.
Well, our pew cards are meant to be an aid to parishioners as they work their way through the new translations. Mm-hmm. Change is hard. Mm-hmm. Change can be challenging for everyone. So we wanted to have a material that people could use while they're at Mass to help them with the new responses and to follow along with the prayers of the priest as best they could. Mm-hmm. Magnificat has been in the business now since 1998 here in the United States of providing liturgical materials. Mm-hmm. We're the publisher of Magnificat magazine. Mm-hmm. Sure. That's read by more than 200,000 Americans every month.
That's a great aid. Yeah.
And so when the changes were announced to the translations at Mass, we said, well, we have to do something to help people as much as we can to help them with that transition.
And this is done in conjunction with the Conference of Catholic Bishops, right? So
our pew cards are it is a cooperation with the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Yes. Yeah. And
you have all kinds of sizes here. You have the larger one. This is meant to be used in the pew, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. And then you've got a smaller version. What is this all about?
Well, we thought that would be ideal for a woman's purse or a man's shirt pocket, that they could take it with them back and forth to Mass if they wanted to have something for their own personal use. We're very proud of these. More than 500,000 have been sold throughout the United States.
Well, this is going to be great. I mean, when I go to Mass on Sunday, I'm going to be relying on this, even though a lot of these are translations that I've heard before, because this is going back to a more literal translation of what we used to say, right?
It is. The goal of this translation was to be more close to the original Latin wording of the Mass. And for instance, the change right before we receive communion, Lord, I am not worthy to receive you, but only say the word and I shall be healed, is now becoming, Lord, I am not worthy that you should come under my roof, but only say the word and my soul shall be healed. And in addition to that being closer to the original Latin, that also is from the gospel story of the centurion speaking to Christ. And so a lot of the changes do actually have more of a scriptural context to them as well.
And of course, the one that everybody's going to recognize right off the bat is when the priest says, "The Lord be with you."
And with your spirit.
That's the new response now. You know, and that's going to take some getting used to, I think.
It will. And one of the goals, especially of the pew cards, is to be a help throughout this coming Sunday and throughout all of Advent. But we also wanted to have something for parishes to help at Christmas. Because, you know, on Christmas Day, sometimes we see some parishioners who we haven't seen in a while.
Sure.
And so they too will especially need a help if they haven't been there for those preceding weeks.
How long do you think it's going to take for us people in the pews to get used to these new translations?
There are some changes, and with your spirit, that I think people will very quickly grow to use. There are others that may take a while. The change to the creed, for instance, might be something that might take people a little bit of doing. You know, the creed will now, instead of beginning "we believe," will now begin "I believe."
Right.
And so for some people that may take a bit of...
And most of the changes really are in the text of the prayer of the Mass that the priest says. So he's got to deal with most of the changes, right?
True. The priests have a challenging job in front of them with the collect prayers and with the Eucharistic prayers. Might interest you to know we're also one of the publishers of the altar book, of the large Roman Missal that will sit on the altar and at the chair.
Good. So you brought along a couple of other pieces. This is a companion piece for the changes. Is this right?
This is called our Roman Missal Companion. This has also proved very popular this year for parishes to give away. It's a booklet that explains, gives a little bit of why of the changes.
And this is our your regular edition of Magnificat, right?
This is our November edition. It's one of the most popular editions in our history because it has both sets of translations in it.
And you were saying you also have a new larger print edition.
We do. Our large print.
That's this one right here, right?
Our December issue is the debut of our large print edition.
And this has all the changes in it now, right?
It does. From now on, all Magnificats will be current with the new translations. Tell
us a little bit about Magnificat, because it is a wonderful resource book, and some people might not be familiar with it.
Magnificat is a monthly magazine in a day-by-day format. So every day brings you prayers for the morning, then the Mass readings, a meditation by a theologian or a saint or a contemporary writer, prayers for the evening, and then some brief biographies of saints. And that's every day. And it also has a sacred art commentary and other special features.
And how would people get it if they're interested in having a copy of Magnificat each month?
For all of our materials, it would be good for people to visit magnificat.com, and they can go there and they can get access to our Magnificat, which is our Sunday Missalette for children. They can get access to all of our books for adults and children, all of our companion issues. For instance, we have a companion issue just for Advent, which has a day-by-day format with meditations for Advent.
Okay. And you've brought along a lot of stuff, so we're going to have a little giveaway here at Currents. If,
I'm glad to hear it.
People are interested in getting a free copy of the Mass cards or some of these books, they should just let us know and get in touch with us at Currents. So we really appreciate all the stuff that you brought today. And as I said, it's a magnificent service to the Church. And thanks so much for being with us and telling us a little bit about it today, Paul.
Thank you very much, Ed.
If you're interested in any of what you just saw, Magnificat has provided Currents with a limited supply of materials to give away. We have the large pew cards, which may be of interest to some pastors out there. We also have the smaller cards that parishioners can easily take with them. They fit in most purses and pockets. And finally, we have the Magnificat Roman Missal Companion, as well as regular and large print editions of the December issue of Magnificat magazine. To get your copies, email us at dropusaline@currentsny.net or send us a tweet. You can find us on Twitter at currentsny. In your message, be sure to let us know what you would like. The Magnificat giveaway will continue while supplies last. And of course, we thank the company for its generosity. We've also posted more information about the giveaway on our blog. Just go to currentsny.net and click on Writing the Wave. Stay tuned. There's more Currents ahead. When we return, as we get ready to give thanks, how much can you save putting together that perfect Thanksgiving meal? The answer may surprise you.
We are trying to make Thanksgiving dinner for 8 people for under $75.
Finally tonight, budgets are tight during these tough economic times. The Congressional Super Committee failed to reach an agreement on a plan to reduce the deficit. U.S. bishops have weighed in, urging Congress to not make cuts to programs that aid the needy. But in these tough times, it's not just the government that's looking to cut costs. Families are exploring all options in an effort to save. But saving does not necessarily mean having to cut corners. As we count down to Thanksgiving, CNN.com's food expert, Kat Kinsman, went in search of some less expensive options for preparing a full Thanksgiving meal.
I'm Kat Kinsman, managing editor of CNN's Zootocracy, and we are here at the Union Square Farmers Market in Manhattan. It's Thanksgiving time, and there is no better deal in food than your farmers market. It's a myth that farmers markets are more expensive than traditional supermarkets. There's the freshest produce possible, and you're supporting your local farmers. We are trying to make Thanksgiving dinner for 8 people for under $75. My colleague Sarah and I have plotted this out to the penny. We've been looking at store circulars, following prices. We're pretty confident that we can come in under $75. Actually, we're saying $75. I'm going to try to go even lower. If you're on a budget, it is so important to price shop. For instance, the Brussels sprouts here, $5 a pound. I got them at my farmer's market upstate on the stem still for $2. So there are bargains to be had everywhere. You just have to do a little bit of homework. And there are even actually a couple of things here that I got cheaper at my local supermarket instead. Don't tell anyone. Turkey at this fantastic farm. I'm sure the turkey's all humanely raised and stuff. It's $3.39 a pound. Because I'm a loyal shopper at my local supermarket, I'm paying 59 cents a pound. So it's all about weighing your options and figuring out where you want to scrimp and where you want to save. What do you think? What are your greens needs? We've got some great scores here today. Got all of our root vegetables. We've got some squash and the collards, which are most key. That's the thing I cannot have Thanksgiving without. $6? Yes. And we are totally on budget. Spices can eat up your budget if you're not careful, and they're absolutely essential to bring flavor without a whole lot of fat. So I go to my local 99-cent or dollar store and pick them up there. Oh my God, smell that. Here comes the bird. The six-legged bird.
That is all for this edition of Currents. Coming up tomorrow, the race is on to collect food for New York's needy. And it truly is a race, a bicycle race called Cranksgiving. We'll have that and much more tomorrow. Until then, be sure to visit us online at currentsny.net. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Thank you for watching and have a great night.